Well, hi there. Good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for your wonderful company. You're watching EBN Weekend Edition. We're coming to you live from a rainy capital city of Nairobi. And tonight we've got quite a bit in store. From the corridors of court, it was packed. 19-year-old Ian Njoroge freed on 700,000 shillings bond. Member of Parliament for Kapseret, Oscar Sudi, who has been acquitted of forgery charges. Even as Raila Odinga says, you know what, those taxes within the Finance Bill of 2024 are punitive. This and much more making headlines tonight. Here are the day's top stories. In the corridors of court, Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi, acquitted of forgery charges, is 19-year-old Ian Njoroge freed on 700,000 shillings bond. Azimio leader Raila Odinga tears into the Finance Bill 2024, terming the taxes punitive that will affect the cost of living. Has slammed the government over the proposals contained in the Finance Bill 2024. In a bold statement on Friday, Odinga took a swipe at the Kenya Kwanza regime, terming the bill as retrogressive and insensitive to the plight of the poor in the country, reiterating that its impacts will be worse than the Finance Bill of 2023. The opposition leader cited the economic areas which will be affected by the proposed increase of taxes and the value-added tax, saying ordinary Kenyans will be subjected to hardships worse than in the last financial year. Odinga highlighted the new taxes imposed on basic commodities such as bread, edible oils, mobile banking transactions and sugarcane factories, reaffirming that the same would subject Kenyans who are already hurting economically to more pain. According to the Azimio boss, the President William Ruto-led regime ought to learn from the Finance Bill 2023, which he says, despite slamming Kenyans with more taxes in the name of raising the country's revenues, the Kenya Revenue Authority KRA still fell short of its targets. He argues that the revenues decreased since most businesses were forced to shut down due to high operation costs resulting from high prices of fuel. Well, that was a statement that was released just this evening from the Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga, who gave his reactions and thoughts concerning the Finance Bill 2024. Now let's cross over to the corridors of court, where the court has acquitted former Kenya Pipeline Managing Director Charles Tanui and 15 others over charges of conspiring to defraud the parastatal of 644 million shillings. Anti-corruption magistrate Felix Kombo said the conspiracy charge was not established, adding that it cannot exist without there being an agreement between the accused. He said there was no evidence within their distinct roles that the accused persons had a shared intention to defraud the Kenya Pipeline Company. The court, however, found some of the accused persons have a case to answer on other fraud-related charges. They will have to defend themselves on those accusations. The case is in respect of a tender for the supply of hydrant Puit valves, complete with under-hydrant valves from Aero Dispenser Valves Company Limited, as well as 2-year operational spares.
31.1 reads, paragraph C, PPDA 05, by not having a written contract signed by the parties. My view in relation to the construction of the quote is that the term should not be restrictively construed only to mean a contract whose terms are all written in one document. In my view, it suffices if the envisaged contract can be found in one or more written documents by the parties. Consequently, I find that count 5 against the first accused must fail and the same is equally hereby dismissed. In the end, I make the following orders. Number 1, all the accused in count 1 and the first accused in count 5 are hereby acquitted under section 210 CPC. And number 2, a case is sufficiently made out against the 11th accused in count 2, the 13th accused, the 13th, 15th and 16th accused in count 3, 4 and 7, and the 13th to 16th accused persons in count 6. And all those accused persons are called to their defense. Right to appeal within 14 days.
Now, still in court, Ian Njoroge, the 19-year-old who was captured in a viral video assaulting a traffic police officer in Mirema, has been granted a 700,000 shillings bond. This is after the Milimani Law Court said early on Friday given probation officers up to 2 p.m. to file their report on the matter, failure to which it would rule on his bail application. The probation had asked for 7 extra days to file their submissions. The court ruled that the robbery with violence charge against Njoroge is unconstitutional since Section 96(2) of the Penal Code, where the said offence was anchored, was declared unconstitutional by the High Court. The court also stated that the application by the prosecution that Njoroge should not be released on bail or on bond because he is a flight risk is implausible since it is not supported by any evidence. Still in the courts, Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi can now breathe a sigh of relief after he was acquitted of all charges in a case in which he was accused of forging his academic documents. Sudi in the case was also charged with making a false declaration to officials of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission during the 2013 general elections. A Nairobi court on Friday ruled that the prosecution had failed to prove its case, adding it also produced no formal documents to back up the allegations against the controversial legislator. The court further stated that the manner in which the investigation was conducted was irregular since the investigating officer carried out interrogations in a hotel. Sudi was accused of forging a diploma certificate in business management from the Kenya Institute of Management and a KCSE certificate after he claimed to have sat for the exams at Highway Secondary School in Nairobi. In May 2022, former Highway Secondary School principal Patrick Maritim testified that the MP did not sit his KCP exams at the school in 2006 as he had alleged further that the enrollment records did not show Sudi's name registered as a student.
The allegations were just mere allegations, and our client, we do confirm, is qualified, doesn't have fake certificates as alluded, and he has been set free by the court. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen of the press, I don't have much to say. A lot has been said today. One of the things I've noticed in this country since I came back is a lot of people are too much into rumor mongering and hearsay. They produce something very small and they put somebody's name into a lot of mud. Today the courts have proven, and this is the first time I've been involved in litigation right from the beginning to the end. I sat behind and I heard this young man argue. And I was like, wow, was I in a UN court, US court, UK court? I found that the judicial system in this country works because it has worked for us today. Sudi has been called so many names. If you don't have a background and you have a problem, you'll be named so many things. Today, God has proven to us that what this gentleman has gone through for the last 8 years has been in vain. You concoct a case, you put somebody on trial, you waste that person's time for all that time, you interfere with his family, you interfere with his constituents, and I'm sure we shall be going to Kapseret very soon to tell the people of Kapseret that Sudi is Sudi yet and Sudi again, and again Sudi. Thank you very much.
Young advocates that were involved in this matter, we would like to really thank the judicial process, beginning with the court, for the lengthy, well thought and reasoned to work for the people of Kapseret and for the people of Kenya. And we really thank
Let's turn political now, where Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has told off leaders who have been calling him a tribalist over his push for the one man, one vote, 1 shilling revenue sharing formula. Speaking in Samburu during a fundraiser for women's groups in the county, Gachagua said his stand on the revenue sharing formula is just an opinion which cannot be forced on Kenyans. Gachagua moved to clarify that the one man, one vote, 1 shilling revenue sharing formula does not imply that areas with low populations should be denied funds. On Thursday, Azimio leader Raila Odinga waded into the controversy surrounding the push for the debate, stating it is the right way to go.
1 vote, 1 kilometer. Hii maoni yote ni nzuri na hakuna vita. Vile sisi wale tunasema namna hiyo, sisi hatusemi ati pesa ipatianwe area iko na watu wengi inyime watu wengine. No. Sometimes people do not listen. Sisi nauliza kitu inaitwa equity. Mtoto wote wa Kenya akuwe sawa na mwingine. Yule yako Samburu akuwe sawa na yule yako Nyeri. Yule yako Mombasa akuwe sawa na yule yako Kajiado. Kama ni borehole tunachimba, kama borehole moja inachukua watu 1,000, tunasema watu 1,000 wapate borehole. Kama ni hospitali, daktari moja anatibu watu wangapi? Wale wa Maralal wapate daktari na madawa ya kutibu wale watu wako Maralal. Wale wako Kiambu wapate madaktari na madawa ya kuhudumia wale wako Kiambu. Tunasema kila mtu apatiwe nafasi, apate usawa, kwa sababu hii Kenya ni yetu sisi sote. Na pia tunasema katika zile sehemu kama Samburu ambaye silibaki nyuma miaka mingi, iangaliwe kwa mambo ya affirmative action kwa equalization fund, ndio pia muweze kupatana na Wakenya wengine. Hiyo ndio ile conversation inaendelea. And the fact that I'm deputy president does not extinguish my right as a Kenyan, as per the constitution, to have an opinion. But that opinion is not a command, it's just an opinion. So kila mtu apewe nafasi aseme. Na senator umesema mzuri, Lesuda umesema mzuri. Let us have a conversation. Let me persuade you that this formula I am saying can work.
Amidst the escalating debate surrounding Gachagwa's call for unity of purpose within Mount Kenya region, leaders and supporters of the Democratic Action Party of Kenya in Meru County have thrown their support behind Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's efforts to foster peace and solidarity among all regional leaders. They've also urged their lawmakers not to endorse the finance bill, which they argue would impose oppression to the already struggling Kenyans if passed. Additionally, they have called on the Deputy President to openly address any differences between him and President William Ruto, asserting their backing for him as the leader of Mount Kenya.
Ambacho tunaomba, tunataka wale viongozi ambao wanajiita ndio viongozi wa Meru, wale ambao wakatoka Meru tukawachagua wakaenda Nairobi na kazi yao ni kukaa huko Nairobi. Sio kama ni loitering ambao wanafanya huko Nairobi. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuhamisha ya kwamba tunawahitaji katika Meru. Maana Meru kuna shinda nyingi, kuna vita, kuna kila aina ya mkwaluzano ambao unaendelea Meru. Lakini viongozi wetu wamejirusha Nairobi, huko ndio wanakaa. Hawajui shinda ama maslahi ya Wameru wale ambao waliwachagua wakawapeleka katika bunge.
Fadhali wana siasa wetu, ma MP wetu, especially our Meru wetu, MPs wetu wa Meru. Pitieni hii kitu na muangalie hii kitu inatufinya. Ukipata sisi kama wana youth, mkipitisha hii finance bill tumeisha. Unapata mwana youth ametafuta pesa pale akakopa pikipiki yake. Ukipitisha finance bill hiyo pikipiki analipia mara 7. Inamaanisha kuwa ile kitu yenye anapata kwa siku ni yeye na pikipiki wanagawana. Unapata kwa pikipiki ndio inachukua pesa mingi ama serikali inachukua pesa mingi kushinda zile ambazo anaachwa nazo. Tafadhali tunaomba wanasiasa wetu, ma MP wetu wote, hii finance bill tafadhali iangusheni asubuhi mapema itoke hapo. Mambo ya pili tunaomba, Rigathi Gachagua, wewe ni mtoto wetu wa Meru, wewe ni baba yetu Meru mwenzetu. Tunakuomba tokea, tuambie kwamba hii serikali inakupeleka vipi ili tuweze kujipanga. Lakini
hii finance bill wewe iangushe mapema. Kwa mambo ya deputy president wetu, tunasema kama wana DAP, tuko nyuma yako moja kwa moja na tutakusupporti na tuogopi kitu chochote. Na wewe tunataka tokea useme bila mambo iko. Kama iko ubaya, sisi tuko hapa nyuma yako na bila utasema tunakungoja ili tusupporti bila utasema.
Ahead of the upcoming UDA party elections for the Nairobi chair position, two rival camps vying for the position met with the UDA's election board. Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja has expressed confidence in his ability to secure the position, reaffirming his readiness to compete against his rival James Gakuya, Member of Parliament for Embakasi North. However, Gakuya's team has voiced dissatisfaction with the election preparations, particularly highlighting concerns about the fairness of the process. Gakuya, who enjoys the support of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, earlier this week issued a threat to exit the party if he does not emerge victorious in the election.
Uchaguzi kwa Jumatatu na Nairobi wanaenda kuchagua bwana James Mwangi Gakuya kama chairman wao. Mambo iko sawa, you know our party is democratic, walikuwa wanataka tujue which process sisi tunataka na tumekubaliana, kila party imekubaliana. We are democratic. And hata wenzetu wameona kwamba bwana Gakuya ni kama ana nguvu kidogo. Sasa hivyo ndio kumeenda huko.
We are fine and we are ready for elections. Hata tuambiwe kesho tuko tayari kwa uchaguzi wa Nairobi. Hii maneno mtu anaanza kuleta hivi kujaribu kwenda namna hii, waache bwana. Hata kesho saa 12 tuambue tupange mlolongo. Sisi team Gakuya tuko chonjo, tuko tayari anytime.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, is currently probing claims of fraudulent procurement of a 5.1-acre parcel of land in Karen belonging to the Nairobi City County Government. Private developers are alleged to have unlawfully acquired the property and are now seeking compensation of 1.2 billion shillings from City Hall. The parcel of land was reserved for sewerage work and staff housing and is still being used by the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company as a sewerage pond. Preliminary investigations by the anti-graft watchdog indicate that the parcel was allocated to Nairobi City Council in 1969, subsequent to the approval of a land survey plan dating back to 1966.
The parcel of land, which is currently estimated at about 400 million Kenya shillings, was reserved for sewage works and staff housing and still being used for that purpose by the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company. And the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has commenced investigation with the main purpose of, first of all, finding out how that property could have been allocated to private developers when it was actually not available for allocation to private individuals. Secondly, we also want to be enjoined in that suit in court so that we recover that property for the public.
We want to put land grabbers on notice. Whether you took it in the 90s or in the 80s or in the 70s, the history and track record and process of allocation is very clear. It's very clear in the law. We will catch up with you. What belongs to the people of Nairobi shall remain for the people of Nairobi. There are those who think they have made it, they've made away with property, they've created fake titles. Some are even in, active.
Residents of Nakuru Town East are expressing deep concerns regarding the resurgence of organized criminal gangs that are instilling fear and terrorizing the community. Troubled individuals from the affected neighborhoods such as Free Area, Mchanganyiko Area, Kiratina and Section 58 are urging for a more proactive security approach to eradicate these gangs, which operate both during the night and in broad daylight. They are dismayed by the apparent lack of concrete actions taken against the suspects, often released due to lenient bonds, bails and fines imposed by the courts. Furthermore, many cases go unreported as victims fear retaliation from the gangs.
Katika hii kaunti yetu ya Nakuru, kama zile kaunti zingine ambazo zinaendeleza uchumi wao kwa hali ya juu kwa sababu ya ile participation ya kila mtu, tuseme mama, kijana ama mzee, kila mtu ako kwa hiyo harakati ya kujitafutia, tukiinua ekonomi yetu ama uchumi yetu. Tukifika mahali ya kukaa kwa nyumba na kuogopa, huwezi ukaenda kwa soko umalizie mzigo yako kwa sababu unaogopa the next minute tukipita hivi utagongwa na wale mavijana. So tunakaa hata kwa nyumba, ama unafunga soko yako mapema, ama unafunga duka yako ya M-Pesa mapema kwa sababu ya kuogopa. That means kuna mahali tunaenda short.
Wakati tunasikia kuwa security haiko, ni kana kwamba it is sabotaged. Kwa nini? Hauwezekani kuwa kuna ile registered group ya bodaboda iko kutoka moja mpaka ile nyingine, ni kama yadi 10, alafu nyumba 10 kila mahali. Alafu sasa unarudi unasikia vijana wanakimbia kila mahali wakidunga watu visu, wanaiba masimu, wanafanya nini, kile vitu kama hizo. Na saa hizi imefika kiwango kibaya kwa sababu wanatumia pikipiki.
Vile insecurity ambayo sasa imeanza kuingia katika Nakuru, hii mpaka inaleta downfall ya economy. Sababu hata kama ni wale wafanyibiashara ambao saa nyingine wanaendaga mtu anachelewa, ama wale wanajitokezea mapema sana wakienda shughuli zao za uchukuzi, saa hii wameanza kuogopa. Kila mtu ameanza kuwa na hofu. Hata wengine wanahofia pengine akienda kuingia pale kwake, sababu kuna kuwaga na gate, pengine ataweza kupata kama amegojewa pale. Kwa hivyo sasa mpaka hii taxi yenye serikali inataka kuchukua ndio economy iweze kuinuka, inarudishwa chini na haya magenge. Kwa hivyo sasa tunataka county commandant aangalie vizuri na aweze kutusaidia. Sababu asipotusaidia, raia wakifika mwisho, wakifika ukutani, wanachukua hatua mikononi mwao.
Residents of Juja and Ruiru constituencies in Kiambu County have taken matters into their own hands, raising over 400,000 shillings to construct a bridge that was washed away by floods. The residents say they grew tired of empty promises given by political leaders in the area and took the matters into their own hands. Works on the bridge are far from over, but they are hopeful the bridge will serve them for a long time.
Kwa sababu hiyo ilifanyika tu wakati shule zilikuwa zinafunguliwa. Na hakika kuna mashule mengi ambayo wanatumia hii daraja. So pesa ile tulipata mara ya kwanza tukajaza mawe kwenye ram ndio watu waweze kuvuka. Kisha tukaanza sasa kujenga band walls jinsi mnavyoona iweze kupita kama wakati mwingine mvua itaweza kurudi hivyo, pia maji yaweze kupita bila kuzuiliwa na kupunguza hiyo the damage that is going to be caused. So tulianza hiyo project na hadi wa sasa tuko na wiki kama 3 ambayo tulikamilisha jana. Ile tumebakia tu, hata unaona tumefanya some other improvements, kupaka rangi kwenye hizo bollards, ndio ikiwa usiku mtu anatumia hiyo daraja sana watu wa magari waweze kuona mwisho ya daraja. Tumechanga 1427 428,000 is what we have raised, and so far we have spent, tumetumia hiyo pesa kiwango kikubwa, ambayo kile tumebaki nacho sasa ni karibu 50,000. Nafikiri hesabu kamili iko na mweka hazina wetu.
This bridge is very important to us. Tunatumia kupeleka watoto shule, kuwarudisha, wengine wanaenda makazi, wengine watu wanaenda hospitali kutumia hii bridge. Kwa hivyo ni ya maana sana. Kwa hivyo tuliona as a community ni lazima tujisaidie sisi kwa sababu viongozi wetu wametulenga ama wamekosa kutusaidia. Tumejaribu, we have seen the MCA make promises that there's a county project that is coming to this area to build another bridge, but that has not come to life. So we saw that it was important for us to do the repairs ourselves, because we are the ones who go through the hassle each and every day.
The availability of sanitary towels among school-going girls in the pastoralist communities is still a nightmare, with many absconding classes during their menstrual period. In Laikipia North, girls have a hard time during this period, and some are still living in stigma for using unhygienic materials. According to Francisca Kimiri, a health officer, talking about menstruation in this region is still hard, and girls confide to themselves. Speaking when well-wishers distributed reusable sanitary towels to schools at Chumvi, Kimiri said that currently they have to do the exercise and engage both boys and girls in talking about issues of menstrual health to try and demystify the myths and incorrect information about it. She emphasized the need to educate the young boys and girls on the issue to give the truth if the fight against early pregnancies is to be won easily in the regions.
Tumekuja kuongea na wasichana kuhusu reproductive health na jinsi wanaweza pia kushughulikia hali yao katika hedhi, ili waweze kuwa na afya bora katika maisha yao, waendelee kuwa na masomo bora. Na tumeweza kujua ya kwamba katika jamii ya wafugaji msichana bado hajafika kiwango ambacho wengine wa mahali pengine wamefikia, na tutaendelea na kusaidia mtoto msichana mpaka aweze kuhitimu katika maisha yake ya baadaye, na ili aweze kukaa pia kusaidia wengine katika jamii.
Kwa community kama hii kupata sana kwa hizo pads ya wasichana haikuwa kasi rahisi, kwa sababu tukijua kwanza katika jamii ni jamii ambayo wamelelewa katika maisha ya kutojua hizo vitu. Wasasi wao si watu ambao wanaelewa mambo ya pads ni nini. Alafu pia kupatikana katika jamii kama hii si rahisi sana. Mpaka mtu utembea mahali kuko duka, na mahali maduka ziko ni mbali sana. Kwa hivyo tunaona ya kwamba vile leo tumelete, wamefurahia sana. Na tungeomba watu wengi sana wahusike sana kwa kusaidia maisha ya msichana, wasichana katika jamii ya wafugaji, kwa sababu ni watu ambao kupata hizo pads si rahisi kwao.
Now to sports. Kenya's Harambee Stars on Friday resumed their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualification with a frustrating 1-1 draw against the Swallows of Burundi in their third Group F match played at Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe, Malawi. Midfielder Duke Abuya stepped off from the bench to give Kenya a lead in the 72nd minute after fellow substitute Austin Odhiambo found him with a fine pass. But the centre could not hold for Stars as the Swallows restored parity through substitute Abdallah Sudi, who netted an equalizer in the 84th minute to deny the Kenyans crucial 3 points. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we wrap it up tonight. Quite a huge disappointment with what the Harambee Stars registered in Malawi, because that is where we played at, in Malawi. And we hope that, you know, one day, one time, all hope is not lost yet, but hopefully one day, one time, Kenya will be able to participate in the World Cup, basically FIFA World Cup. So that is where we wrap it up tonight. Thank you very much for your wonderful company. I hope that you're up to date with what is making headlines across the country. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourself a fantastic night and a fantastic weekend ahead. Good night.